Hey, what's up guys? Stephen Cult of Mac with the very first iSetups episode, and in this one we've got 3 awesome setups submitted by you, the viewers. So let's get started. First up is a submission from YouTuber Piipperi800. Sorry if I've just butchered your name, but here's his MacBook Air setup, which is mainly a white and blue theme which matches his YouTube channel. As I mentioned, his main computer is a MacBook Air, which is a 2015 13-inch model with a 1.6GHz i5 processor, a 128GB SSD with 8GB of RAM, and it's sitting on an IKEA Alex desk. He mainly uses this setup for web browsing, editing, and a bit of gaming. The gaming side will probably explain the addition of the SteelSeries Apex M500 keyboard and Rival 100 mouse, sitting on a SteelSeries Ice Blue limited edition mousepad. I like that he's managed to keep it all within the same brand. Above his MacBook Air is a large screen Samsung TV, hooked up to an Apple TV, along with an AirPort Extreme, external hard drive and 2 iPods, a 7th generation iPod Nano, and a 5th gen 32GB iPod Touch, which was his first ever Apple device. Funnily enough, my first Apple device was also an iPod, although it was the first iPod video. And on the windowsill there, you can see he's also got a 64GB iPad Air 2. There's also a gold Apple Lightning dock to charge and sync his gold iPhone 7 Plus. This is a great setup, but I feel it could be a lot better if we tidy up those wires. It would look super clean if we could hide as many as possible. If you could switch out your keyboard and mouse for wireless options that offer the same or similar benefits as your current choices, this would immediately eliminate 2 sets of wires. I like the USB hub you've got to help expand the amount of accessories you can connect, but maybe you could mount that to the side of your desk to help clear up some space, and then just tuck any wires you can behind the desk. Finally, I'd buy some sort of a docking station for your iPods and iPad so they could still be on display but have their own space instead of leaning elsewhere. Overall though, great setup. Next up is Richard Crossley's huge setup. His main computer is a 2012 27-inch iMac with a 3.6GHz Intel Core i7 processor, 16GB of RAM and a 1TB Fusion drive. He mainly uses it for VMware, as well as writing and reviewing papers for his PhD he's currently taking, which is, wait for it, optimization in high performance computing to achieve maximum resource efficiency. That's a mouthful, so you know it's going to be an impressive setup. Next to his beast of an iMac, there's a second 27-inch iMac which is a 2009 model that's mainly used for a dual screen setup. Both iMacs are sitting in a 12 self high-rise iMac stand to reduce clutter and hide any hard drives and wires. There's also a set of Bowers & Wilkins MM1 speakers. Richard also has a 2009 hipster MacBook for remote iTunes playback, a 2012 Mac Mini with another i7 processor for handbrake conversions, a retro 2003 iMac G4 which is cleaned up solely for the purpose of looking cool and running iTunes and Spotify, as well as a Steam machine for him to learn Red Hat Linux as part of his PhD. It also has a built-in GPU so we can run tests on both CPU and GPU energy usage. Finally, he has a 2016 MacBook and a 128GB iPad Pro for when he's on the move going to and from university, using them individually but also using them together by turning the iPad into a secondary monitor via the much-loved Duet app. It's got a great clean look despite the amount of computers and peripherals on show, and he's managed to keep the white and silver colour theme brilliantly, breaking it up with that little bit of black and red. Sticking with the clean and simple IKEA Malm desks ensure there's not too much going on with this setup, and I love how much he's managed to place on 2 desks without it being cluttered. Great job. There's way too many products in this setup for me to go through within this video, but if there's anything you want more info on, all of the products are linked in the description down below for each and every setup, including my own. Last but not least is from Conor Hess, who brings us his super clean and beautifully dark setup. It kind of reminds me of my old setup from my last house. Anyway, back to Conor's setup. He's got a really nice clean and simple setup which I love, featuring his 2016 13-inch MacBook Pro with touch bar that he uses mainly for photo and video editing along with his schoolwork. It's hooked up to what appears to be an LG 34UM88C-P 34-inch monitor, which I'm taking a bit of a punt on from the images, but it's perfect for video editing with all of that widescreen real estate. He's using a standard Apple wireless keyboard along with the Logitech M720 Triathlon mouse, which can seamlessly switch between 3 computers. Although, unlike our 2 first submissions who have multiple computers, Conor only uses the MacBook thanks to his laptop and monitor combo, giving him the best of both a desktop and a laptop. He's currently using a 64GB iPhone 6s in silver, stating that he doesn't want to part with it for the 7 thanks to the removal of the headphone jack. There's nothing I've really changed for Conor's setup personally, other than perhaps a dock for his MacBook Pro, such as the Hinge dock I've recently reviewed, so he can simply slip in his MacBook for when he wants to connect it to the screen. Although thanks to the USB-C input, it's not too much of a big deal. I also love the LED light strip he's got going along the back to illuminate the wall and frame the dark desk. Great setup. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Also, if you'd like to be part of the next episode of iSetups, make sure to submit your setups by the 30th of March, as the next episode is going live on the 31st. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.